of July really strong, and then towards the mid to end of it, I re-injured, and I say re-injured because I didn't actually do anything. I bent over and tweaked my back again, and that kind of has just plummeted any and all reading productivity from me. But yeah, I do have some books to talk about here. I haven't done a monthly wrap up in a hot minute, so I'm happy to get back to doing so. Okay, anyways, let's just get started. So, the first book I read in July is The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. The House That Horror Built by Christina Henry. Let's read the synopsis real quick. Harry Adams has always loved horror movies, so it's not a total coincidence that she took a job cleaning house for movie director Javier Castillo. His forbidding graystone Chicago mansion, Bright Horses, is filled from top to bottom with terrifying props and costumes, as well as glittering awards from his career making films that thrilled audiences, until family tragedy and scandal forced him to vanish from the industry. Javier values discretion, and Harry tries to clean the house immaculately, keep her head down, and keep her job safe. She needs the money to support her son, but then she starts hearing noises from behind a locked door. Noises that sound remarkably like a human voice calling for help. Even though Javier lives alone and never has visitors, Harry knows that not asking questions is a vital part of working for Javier, but she soon finds that the sinister house may be home to secrets she can't ignore. So this book, it's not super long. I think it comes in like it's just over 300 pages, and I had such high hopes for this book. I don't know why, but it was one of my like anticipated releases for 2024, and it was unfortunately kind of a letdown. No, not kind of, it was a letdown. It has quite a low rating on Goodreads, so I really shouldn't be that surprised. I think it has like a 3.2, which is quite low. Anything under like a 3.5 on Goodreads is like yikes. It just I don't know, it felt like it was trying. Well, first of all, it felt like it didn't know what type of horror it wanted to be, like especially at the end. It was like, does it want to be just like bad people doing horrible things horror, or do we want it to be like supernatural horror, or what's going on? And most of the book isn't like it's just like this woman working. Like, I feel like the majority of the book is this woman cleaning this guy's house. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't have like the suspense or the build up that you would want, or that I wanted at least. And then there was also this like extra mystery inserted like halfway through the book that wasn't mentioned in the synopsis. It didn't have anything to do with the synopsis, so that was a bit surprising. But yeah, the ending, it was just like, totally missed the mark and just came off as like stupid and like, I don't know. It wasn't good. I read it in, I think, a day because I just wanted to be done with it. It just wasn't good. I can't, I don't know, but yeah, so I gave this 2 stars. Two stars because I didn't like it, but it wasn't like horrible. It's not like the worst thing I've ever read. It's just definitely not good. Okay, next. I was excited about this one because, well, let me show it to you first. That is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. Now, I have, over the course of maybe like 2-ish years, acquired 3 different T. Kingfisher books and hadn't read them up until this month. So, and then I was thinking about buying like a couple more of her books, like I was thinking about buying her 2024 release, and then also, what is it, Thorn Edge, that came out last year, but I was like, girl, you don't even know if you like the author, you don't even know if you like the writing, like what if you absolutely hate the writing style and now you have like 5 books from this author that you don't like, so I forced myself to pick this up. I kind of hybrid read it with both audio and physically, and it's quite short, it's a novella. It is I think it's horror, it's like fantastical horror. It is a retelling of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, so obviously horror leaning, but it's like Fall of the House of Usher Fungal's version. But yeah, let's just read the synopsis real quick. When Alex Easton, a retired soldier, receives word that their childhood friend Madeline Usher is dying, they race to the ancestral home of the Ushers in the remote countryside of Ruritania. What they find there is a nightmare of fungal growths and possessed wildlife surrounding a dark, pulsing lake. Madeline sleepwalks and speaks in strange voices at night, and her brother Roderick is consumed by a mysterious malady of the nerves. Aided by a redoubtable British mycologist and a baffled American doctor, Alex must unravel the secrets of the House of Usher before it consumes them all. I enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I really appreciated the non-binary rep of the main character, the POV character, Alex Easton. I don't know, I just really liked like the subtle representation. And I really enjoyed reading like the author's note in the back about how she kind of chose to, how and why she chose to write this novella. Loki makes me want to write my own Edgar Allan Poe retelling, if I had the skill to do that. But yeah, I really liked just like the nature gothic aspects of it. I mean, The Fall of the House of Usher, obviously it's going to be a gothic horror retelling, but I really liked the inclusion of, or the focus on like the lake and the animals, hares, not rabbits, hares, and mushroom fungi, all of it. I thought it was a really interesting kind of shelves one day, and I'm like, I just want it. I want those to be read. I want it to be complete. I don't know what it was. I really don't. I couldn't tell you. But that is the Stolen Heir duology by Holly Black. So we have the Stolen Heir and the Prisoner's Throne. And these are, for those who don't know, it is a spin-off / companion duology of the Cruel Prince series. What is it? The Folk of the Air trilogy. The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. I read those like back when they were originally being published. I think I was in high school, maybe early college. I don't know. I know I read them as they came out. And I think The Queen of Nothing came out back in like 2019. So it's been a hot minute since I've been kind of in this world. But this duology is about Oak, Carden, one of the main characters from, not Carden, Jude, one of the main characters from the Cruel Prince series, her younger brother. Yeah, her younger brother, technically Carden's nephew. It's weird, but it's a thing. Okay, who is like the Prince of Elfhame, basically. It's about Oak and Ren. This, I don't technically know what she is. She is Fae. I don't know what kind. She's from the Court of Teeth. But yeah, so I'll just quickly read the synopsis of The Stolen Heir. I won't read the synopsis for the sequel to avoid spoilers or anything, but here, let's just quickly read the synopsis of The Stolen Heir. Okay. 8 years have passed since the Battle of the Serpent, but in the icy north, Lady Nor of the Court of Teeth has reclaimed the Ice Needle Citadel. There, she is using an ancient relic to create monsters of stick and snow, who will do her bidding and exact her revenge. Surin, Child Queen of the Court of Teeth, and the one person with the power over her mother, fled to the human world. There, she lives feral in the woods, lonely and still haunted by the merciless torments she endured in the Court of Teeth. She bides her time by releasing mortals from foolish bargains. She believes herself forgotten until the storm hag Bogdana chases her through the night streets. Surin is saved by none other than Prince Oak, the heir to the Elfhame she was once promised to marry, and who she has resented for years. Now 17, Oak is charming, beautiful, and manipulative. He's on a mission that will lead him into the Ice Needle Citadel, and he wants Surin's help. But if he agrees, it will be meaning guarding her heart against the boy she once knew, and a prince she cannot trust, as well as confronting all the horrors she thought she left behind. Return to the opulent world of Elfhame, filled with intrigue, betrayal, and dangerous desires, with the first book in a captivating new duology. From the New York Times bestseller, Holly Black. Now, the vibes of this duology is a lot different from the original trilogy. These are, particularly the first book, it's a quest. Oak recruits Sir Ren to help him accomplish this mission, this plan that he has. So it's a lot of just traveling, basically a lot of traveling and talking is like 90% of the first book. It doesn't really have the kind of court and political intrigue that the original trilogy had that made it so interesting. I gave both books three stars. I was a little underwhelmed by them. It seems like, according to the Goodreads, it seems like the majority of people prefer the original trilogy over these two, over this duology. I don't know if it's just because of the characters or the plot or both. I don't know what it was about this. I didn't really connect super well with the characters. I felt like the character, like Ren in particular, like she was first introduced as like this feral, badass, like monster, not child, because I think she's like 18, 19, but then she turns into like whimpering, like insecure, does he like me, does he not, kind of thing. It was just very bizarre. Like, it felt like the character that we were first introduced to when she's living in the woods, and then when she's on the quest with Oak, are like two completely different people. And I don't want to be mean, and they even like call it out in the book. She's not smart. Like, she doesn't plan, she doesn't do like the politics, that's not her thing. And I mean, I guess technically there's reasons for that, but you know, spoilers, don't wanna get into it too much. I will say, without giving like spoilers for the end of the first book and going into the second book, I didn't really understand the reactions of certain characters at the end of book one. I didn't understand why there was such a visceral reaction to certain things being uncovered. It's like, what? And the romance level between Bren and Oak is definitely like non-existent, which is fine by me. I'm not a romantic-y girly. I'm not really a romance girly at all. But I was just like, this is just like they're like together, and they obviously end up together, but it's like, why? Like they obviously had this friendship when they were younger, but like, why? Like, it felt like there was more like romantic chemistry and tension and conversations about the like side characters, the two side characters. There is a queer rep. It is a queer couple, a male couple. Like, that relationship felt more interesting and complex than the main relationship between Oak and Surin. But I don't know. I don't know. And I feel like Oak's character was kind of confusing. I don't know. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It is what it is. I'm excited, or I'm interested, I will say. Maybe not excited, interested to see where Holly Black decides to go next with the world of fairy, because it was alluded in the like bonus Q&A at the end that it will be more, she will eventually add more to the story, and there was a specific chapter in The Prisoner's Throne that gave a hint to what those future also tandem read them physically and with the audiobooks, and I think I just needed to do that because I don't know if I could have like actually sat and read them. I needed to like be doing something else. I was kind of getting bored, to be honest, especially with the first one. Like the first half I was just kind of bored. I was like, okay, but when's something gonna happen? This is making me, I'm making it sound like I like didn't like these books. It's not that I didn't like them, I just didn't like them. I don't know, they were fine, they were okay, they were a letdown from the previous series, but I also read the previous series when I was younger, so maybe my perspective has changed now, or maybe these just aren't as good as the other ones. I don't know. I think I gave all of those books 4 stars. I might have read them before I started using Goodreads, so I don't really remember, but yeah, anyways, enough nonsense blabbering about this. About these two. Yeah. Stolen Air and The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. I gave both 3 stars. Okay, and the next book I read was another D. Kingfisher book. I figured since I enjoyed What Moves the Dead, I might as well move right along to Nettle and Bone. Nettle and Bone. I think this was the first one that I purchased from her around the time that it first came out. What was that, in 2022? See, so Nettle and Bone. This one is similar to The Stolen Air. I was like a little confused / bored in the beginning, but once I got maybe like 20% of the way in is when the story really kind of picked up its pace and got a little bit more interesting. So let's quickly read the synopsis. Mara never wanted to be a hero. As the shy, convent-raised third-born daughter, she escaped the traditional fate of princesses to be married away for the sake of an uncaring throne. But her sister wasn't so fortunate, and after years of silence, Mara is done watching her suffer at the hands of a powerful and abusive prince. Seeking help for her rescue mission, Mara is offered the tools she needs, but only if she can complete 3 seemingly impossible tasks. Build a dog of bones, sew a cloak of nettles, and capture moonlight in a jar. But, as is the way in tales of princes and witches, doing the impossible is only the beginning. Hero or not, and now, joined by a disgraced ex-knight, a reluctant fairy godmother, and an enigmatic grave witch, and her foul familiar, Mara might finally have the courage to save her sister and topple a throne. Oh, and I love the end papers for this, and the end papers for What Moves the Dead as well. Isn't that bunny just freaking creepy? So this is also kind of questy, obviously, because she's, gathering the resources and the people she needs to help save her sister, but I liked it better than the Stolen Air. I think I like T. Kingfisher. I think I like the weird things that she writes. I like I don't know, the vibes are good. This did, I don't want to say leans horror, but I do think it is tagged as horror on Goodreads, but it is primarily fantasy. also pretty short. I don't know if it's a novel or a novella. It doesn't say Nettle and Bone a novel, so maybe that means it's a novella. What are my thoughts on this? Do I have a lot of thoughts on this? Other than the fact that I enjoyed it. Another main character that, again, is, like, canonically stated, isn't super smart. So I will say it was slightly frustrating sometimes to be, like, reading along in the story and, you know, you understand the subtext of so-and-so, and it takes Mara, like a whole extra day to understand, like, the subtext or the nuance, and like, she admits it multiple times throughout the story, which is kind of interesting, but, I don't know, I enjoyed it. It was, yeah, fantastical, magical, fairy tale-ish, yeah, it was just a fun time, a little gruesome, but not in a way that I would categorize it mainly as horror. I still firmly think it is fantasy, just with a little grossness. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this other than it reaffirmed my opinion that I had after reading What Moves the Dead, in that I will continue to read T. Kingfisher, and I am now giving myself permission to buy more of her books. I feel like I'm going to buy her 2024 release, which is another fairy tale retelling, I believe. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm like, I don't know why I can't think right now of what my thoughts are on this book. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was a fun time. It wasn't a long read. After I got, like, past that, like, 20% mark, it really kicked in and got interesting. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. Not a good review from me at all, but, you know, what else is new? Okay, mercifully, the last book I have to talk about, this is funny because I had been pulling a few books off my TBR shelf, like, what should I read next? I don't know. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should read this one. And then I also recently created my own little DIY TBR jar, and I filled it with all of my backlist TBR, all of the books that I have or had owned going into 2024, so 2023 releases and prior, because I want to get better at reading the books when I buy them. And I have, like, an Excel spreadsheet tracking my reading and stuff, so I was able to, you know, get all that info from there and print it out. And it was funny because I had this book and another book sitting next to each other on my desk, and then I was showing my mom. She asked, like, what is that? And I explained it to her, and I picked one out, and it said this. It was like, my mom was a little freaked. It was like kismet, I don't know. So it happened. So I read it. I was like, I can't not read it now. And that is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. This is the 3rd book I've read by Roshni Chokshi. This is her adult debut. I had previously read The Gilded Wolves and what is it? I didn't like it. Her other YA, the first one, in, like, the duology. I actually think it's a standalone, and the second one's a companion, but that one, I didn't like that one, but I liked The Gilded Wolves. And I own the full Gilded Wolves series that I have not finished, but I do plan on going back and rereading The Gilded Wolves finishing through that series, because I do remember really enjoying that book. So, anyways, blah 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 blah. Point being, I have had previous experience with this author, and I was interested to see how her work would translate into adult. And I actually ended up really enjoying this. When I first started reading it, I was like, I'm confused. I don't know what's happening. What am I reading? But again, once I got past like that 20% mark, I want to say, I really got into it. This is a gothic, fantastical novel with like a little bit of like a mystery, suspense, like subplot. And can we just appreciate this cover? Absolutely stunning. It is told from dual POVs from the husband and from a friend of the wife, the husband's wife, the other main character. Okay, let me read the synopsis so I make a little bit more sense. Okay. Once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo Maxwell Castaneda. He was a scholar of myths. She was the heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed that they would live happily ever after. And in exchange for her love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. But when Indigo learns that her estranged aunt is dying, and the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams, the bridegroom will soon find himself unable to resist. From within the crumbling manors, extravagant rooms, and musty halls, lurks the shadow of another girl, Asher, Indigo's dearest childhood friend, who suddenly disappeared. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the bridegroom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens his marriage or his life. Combining the lush, haunting atmosphere of Mexican Gothic and the dreamy enchantment of the invisible life of Addie LaRue, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride is a spellbinding adult debut from New York Times bestselling author Roshni Chokshi. It's a darkly romantic page-turner about love, lies, secrets, betrayal, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. I think that sums it up pretty good. A gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. I'd say that also sums it up nicely. This book, what was found, I guess I was in a fairy tale kind of mood this past month. This book references a lot of fairy tales and stories and folklore throughout it. As the synopsis says, the bridegroom is attention span non-existent, scholar of myths. So there are a lot of cool references to different stories, historical stories, that I found interesting, and kind of later, after finishing the book, looked into a little bit more in my free time, because that's just how I am. But yes, it is told in dual POVs and dual timelines. So you have the bridegroom in present day and Asher, the friend of Indigo from back when they were because this Azure girl keeps getting brought up, and it's like, who is she, and who really is my wife? Like, who the heck did I actually marry? But yeah, I also really enjoyed this. I was a little confused at first, mostly because I hadn't read the synopsis in like a hot minute, so I was confused that I was reading from the POV of the husband, but it makes sense given everything the synopsis said. But I had bought this, what was it, 2022 or 2023 when this came out, so I also, it's been a hot minute since I knew it was about like a marriage and a secret and a woman named Indigo, and that's all I had remembered. But once I actually understood what I was reading about, I quite enjoyed it. Again, really atmospheric, little gothic, little whimsical, magical, kind of like similar vibes to the two T. Kingfisher books that I read. So that, I guess, was the vibe this month, and I really went with it. Yeah, that, I think that's all I really have to say about this one. My brain is pretty fried right now. So, let's wrap this up. So, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm very sorry that my reviews and thoughts on all these books were so incoherent. I was not planning on like actually talking a lot about my thoughts of these books, because my brain is just not, I'm not in, I feel like I'm like on a different planet. I'm dealing with like my back injury. It's messing with my head. I was originally just gonna come in and read the synopsis of like all of the different books, show all the pretty colors, and give my ratings, but I wanted to try and give some thoughts, but sometimes it just ended up being a rambling mess.